everybody. This week on the Grand Tour, we're in the Windy City, Chicago. Come on, let's take a look.
It starts with the river, the Chicago River that runs in the center of the city and has served as the major artery of the great Midwestern metropolis, a seaport in the middle of the continent. Rail yards, stockyards, and shipping converged at this point between the East and the West to transport agricultural and industrial goods throughout North America and beyond through the St. Lawrence Seaway across the Atlantic Ocean to the rest of the world. Water means speed, and speed means cash. This created the economic boom of the late 19th and early 20th century, the sudden fortunes of the new millionaire class that financed the historic world-class Beaux-Arts architecture that defines the city as we know it today. Made of chewing gum? Kind of. The Wrigley building, once the headquarters of the Wrigley Chewing Gum Company, owned by the Wrigley family who were the longtime owners of the Chicago Cubs. The volatile explosion of stories fueled the skyrocket trajectory of this town. The Fourth Estate was never so stately as the Chicago Tribune building, once the neo-Gothic headquarters of the iconic newspaper. As the future began to provide more inspiration than the past in the mid-century ejector seat, more recently, the Skyline spawned more modern creations like the famous corncobs of the Marina City complex. But the great monuments, the lumbering, repurposed hulks of the robber baron age still define the soul of the city. The old Marshall Fields building by Daniel Burnham defines the form of the great American department store. While down the block, the spectacular Carson Peary Scott building, designed by the legendary Louis Sullivan, adorns the city with its mesmerizing psychedelia of cast iron filigree. These are some of the many iconic buildings around the city center of State Street, along with grand old theaters like the Chicago Theater and the Nederlander, which still pack the houses with audiences. Iron rails suddenly brought lots of people long distances, and great hotels remain worthy landmarks here in Chicago. The iconic Drake Hotel, overlooking Lake Michigan with great galleries and shops, built in 1920 by the Drake brothers. It became the favorite of the partiers of the Roaring Twenties in Chicago with its exceptional service and dining. And no voyage to the soul of downtown Chicago is complete without a peek at the legendary Palmer House, founded by the tycoon Potter Palmer in 1871 as a wedding gift to his wife, just in time to be burnt down in the Great Chicago Fire that year. Not to be defeated, Palmer rebuilt the place within a year. It remains as spectacular as ever, with shops, restaurants, and a magnificent lobby with a spectacularly decorated ceiling. The main boulevard that runs through downtown is Michigan Avenue, starting at the Drake Hotel at the north end and continuing down through some of Chicago's most memorable spots for dining, shopping, and strolling. Bloomingdale's is here, and the food court looks over Michigan Avenue through a unique circular window. The famous Water Tower, made of Lamont limestone, is the only public building to survive the Great Fire of 1871. Now this is the famous Chicago Water Tower. This is where the water was drawn from, even though the burning wooden roof caved in, stopping the pumps from working during the fire. The tall tower was used to build up water pressure that regulated the system. It remains a reminder of Chicago's greatest disaster. Oscar Wilde said it looked like a castellated monstrosity with pepper boxes stuck all over it. Across from it is the Water Tower Place shopping mall. With its glissy glass elevator, taking you up through floor after floor of shops and restaurants. Not to be fazed by modernity, across the street there's the Fourth Presbyterian Church, built in 1912 with its ornate Gothic Revival spire. From here, Chicago's skyscrapers tower above the historic world below in a floating world, dozens of stories above the city. The famous Hancock Building defines a skyline, the focal point of an ambitious city aloft. Further down still is the vast Art Institute Museum. So vast that I'll do another video about it. And heading a few blocks east, jutting out into the vast inland known as Lake Michigan, is the great Navy Pier. With numerous restaurants. The Chicago Shakespeare Theater, the embarking point for various boat tours, and unbeatable views of Chicago's unique skyline. Down at the other end of the lake shore is the McCormick Place Convention Center, where we decided to check out the auto show, which was on the calendar this weekend. A cornucopia of this year's automotive offerings from the world over. Honda, BMW, Subaru, Ford. The smell of the turtle wax and the roar of the crowds. There were even some vintage models around. But to really do a time warp into earlier times, you can check out the Volo Vintage Auto Museum, about an hour outside the city. The glamorous beauties of the last century glitter in full display as you navigate aisle after aisle, room to room of this quirky and amazing collection. From a Packard with a dazzling glass hood ornament by Limoges, to 3 tarted-up Duesenbergs. And movie creations like this Ballin' Dr. Seuss whip. It's a great escape from practical reality. So let's hit the brakes and make a U-turn, and it's back to the city for some good eats. Whether at old standards like Miller's Pub, declaring prime rib every day, or 70s icon R.J. Grunt's with its legendary cartoon menu. Or this night, we opted for a dinner show like no other. Teatro Zinzani at the Cambria Hotel. Excellent cuisine dining, topped by a spectacular burlesque acrobatic musical extravaganza in which staff and customers alike become part of the show. There's tons more to see in this eclectic capital of the Midwest, so I can't wait till next time. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe and be informed about our next adventure on my grand tour. Happy travels!